out there changing my voice. Again, I call on the rich Jews and rich whites and rich LGBT people to make contact with me and to discuss the issues at hand here. Okay? I have to do God's work no matter what. I have to put God above all the lives of everyone on the planet, all the lives of human beings there ever were and ever will be, what have you. But that doesn't mean we can't discuss these issues. So recently in Watsonville, which is on the other side of the mountain, so to speak, and there's like mountains, the Santa Cruz Mountains, that are, by my house, and on their side of it is Watsonville. There's even a road that goes through Morgan Hill called Watsonville Road. Watsonville. Watsonville. You think that's a coincidence? What about the two gentlemen who were killed recently? They were cousins. And I was talking about how a gentleman I hung out with, his cousins were Bloods. And I was talking about, Northerners and Southerners in my Morgan Hill story playlist, which I keep wanting to end, but I keep thinking of new things to add on, scriptures, events that occurred. Okay. And so these two gentlemen, right, one of them's name was Jeremiah. And I was talking about Jeremiah, and Nebuchadnezzar has swallowed the Jews whole in Jeremiah. And Nebuchadnezzar is named after Nebo, and the word Nebo is like the word Igbo. But Nebo is not an Igbo deity per se, any more than Baal is a Jewish deity. It's a deity that comes from somewhere else that people from various races worship. So Baal and Nebo are perhaps most associated with Babylon. These two gentlemen, by the looks of it, appear to be have some kind of connection to Northern Hispanics from Watsonville. Okay. And I don't approve of them being killed, and I believe that the government used technology to hack the brains of the shooters, or maybe they told them directly, and that's what got them killed. We see a pattern that's not a coincidence. Like over there by Sun Valley Market, right? Watsonville. Sun Valley Market. There was a vehicle parked there, and it said "Our Girl" after I'm talking about my ex-fiancée, and I saw some Jews and white people that look like my ex-fiancée. They look like they could be related to her. Either yesterday or the day, I think it was the same day. Hey, I'm pretty sure it was the same day. This is not a coincidence. There's a lot of messages that are sent. And if we look at the names and the last names and we do the wordplay formula I've been giving you, you see that I'm right. Occult cut-ups, Hollywood and the occult, and Crowley. Crowley, the Crow. Okay, and the Crow was named after martial arts. Plus, you see, we're going to get into the connection between Spawn and the Black Panther. They both are characters in comics, movies, what have you, that do martial arts in a way that transcends the known martial arts systems, right? These guys can take a bunch of martial arts on at the same time, like I could in my prime, for example. Whether or not you believe in God and the top martial arts being his son, which is me, the governing class believes it. And they are killing people using technology in a pattern that reflects that belief. These two younger people, these two young men did not have to be killed. They're sadistic, and after my flesh dies, they're going to keep killing in patterns that reflect their occult beliefs. They were killing before I was born, over the occult. And look at World War II and all the occult implications. And they're killing now, and they'll be killing after my flesh dies. And even if they would stop, I wouldn't make a deal with the damn devil, because the devil is the devil. And that's wrong. I do what is fair and just and right. Now, the reason why I'm speaking this way is because they're few me and they're making it harder for me to talk. So now let's get into the wordplay some more, shall we? So the first gentleman's name was Jeremiah Aguilera. I'm not trying to slaughter the name. I'm just trying to get this done with. I have a lot on my plate. My condolences to the family and the families of these people. Even though they're cousins, right? There's other families that connect to them and the families who share in their loss. So Aguilera, A, Jew, lay, Eri. Eri spelled E-R-I-S, but you can also spell E-R-I in terms of the sounds, right? Phonetics, Phoenicians, hooked on phonics, right? Phoenician, Canaanite people, phonetic sounds. So what it's saying is one of two things that come to mind. One is that they're pissed off that at some point some female who was a crypto Jew had sex with me. That's what they're saying. I'd like to give an extra fuck you to the governing class. Okay, that's unbelievable. That's petty. That's sick. The other thing they're saying is also disturbing, is they're saying, well, why don't you people date him already and stop shunning him? Because the Bible is about Jews complaining about other Jews not doing the work of God and following the Baals, who were the cultural. The Baals were Baal was a cultural figurehead, a deity that was about other cultures that was infiltrating the Jewish people. And they're supposed to be following an Afro-Asiatic language, right? An Afro-Asiatic culture, right? Hebrew's an Afro-Asiatic language. And Ham begot Cush, Cush begot Nimrod. Nimrod showed the ancient world how to serve God. He was a mighty warrior before the Lord. And then the Jews from Babylon, from Abraham, who learned from Melchizedek, who also has ties to Africa. Okay, there's no other way to look at it, really. They kind of are said to have continued until Christ came and said the kingdom of heaven is taken away from you. But their religion is still, technically, to obey God through his chosen and his anointed. And I'm the anointed. So just like Zeus in Greek mythology has an alter ego, he has two really, Hades and Poseidon. So does, the governing class of the Jews, right? It's like the checkered floor of masonry. Part of them wants you to obey God through me, and part of them doesn't. And so when you look at the situation, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. However, if you think about what kind of person that would make them, it's kind of like the penguin. They're actually extremely pissed off that women are shunning me. They are infuriated. And the word mention is men shun. And the word son is like shun. They know that if people got together and put pressure on them, they would do the right thing and they would be healed. But they do not have the self-control because they cultivate Dionysus as a deity of ritual madness and religious ecstasy, right? They're in like a kind of satanic fervor and they can't catch themselves. That's why they keep doing all these horrible things. So when we look at this in terms of psychologically profiling them, if you will, we see that they want people to stand up to them. It reminds me of a serial killer in Chicago who wrote to the police, and he said that he wanted the police to catch him already, that he can't help himself. That is a common kind of Jewish trait, okay? And I'm not saying it's just the Jews doing it. I'm convinced it's white, Jew, and LGBT people on the top of this thing. People who are best described as whites, who might be Jewish, maybe not. People who are best described as Jews, and people who are best described as LGBT people. Also, I was detained with a gentleman from Watsonville, very likable fellow, okay? And they're aware of this, okay? And I was in a hospital with him. And they had caused me to say some very offensive things that where he could overhear it. And so like a man, even though they had done it to me, I went up to him and I apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry for saying those things. And in like a bitter way, he was like, okay, right? He had a kind of bitter tone to his voice, but they can change the sound of your voice. So he probably just wanted to say, okay, that's fine. And I'm very, very bitter that they caused that situation to happen, but I'm somewhat over it, but I'm still, when I think about it, I don't like it. There's no excuse for them, trying to start stuff, And that gentleman seemed like a northern Hispanic person in terms of gang member and what have you. Also, when I was dating my one of my ex-girlfriends, she was from Santa Cruz. Her brother lived in Watsonville, and I thought he was a northerner at first. I thought he was northern Hispanic because he kind of has light skin. She's mixed with Mexican. She has half brothers and stuff like this, and it gets confusing. I think I met 2 or 3 of them, and I went to their their family get together. Nice people, what have you. But they they follow the government and not me, so on and so forth. So they're on their side, what have you. And what had happened was there was a northerner there, almost certainly from Watsonville, and he had read Converse All-Stars on. So these guys, some of their friends, what have you, are Bloods and Northerners, right? And I catch myself staring at the person's shoes, and I'm like, man, why am I staring at shoes? What the fuck, man? That's like rude. I'm like, what the hell? They hacked my brain. And again, I don't appreciate that either. Okay? They have technology to do that, and they're immature enough to do that. And they killed those two people, whether you believe me or not. They caused them to be killed. They might have used a Sereno, might have used someone they know, might have used a fucking ex-girlfriend. I don't know, but they killed those people. If people don't start rallying together, they're going to kill more people. And they're going to kill them for evil in a way that reinforces the despicable norms that reinforce their system and their social orders, which they've given cries for help for you to address them. If you proceed down this path, nothing good can come from it. Yesterday, I was in a store, and they played a love song, and I felt really emotional. It reminded me of incidents that I've had in my life where I felt really emotional. They were few and far between, right? For the most part, I conducted myself a certain way, but sometimes, I felt sort of emotional. They would chop this up to mental illness or some bullshit. So, I then ask you, which side are you on? Do you believe the government sets gang members up to go to war and they use technology and they're willing to hack people's brains to do so? And they set people up to die, and they're sending a kind of message to their friends and to the world, to those who are paying attention? We're on the side of the debate that these things couldn't possibly occur and America's perfect and that everyone's just mentally ill if they think that that's what's going on. So there's a line in the sand. Okay? And this what I'm discussing is key. And they're suppressing my videos. I decided to put this out anyway. We'll see where it gets. Oh, I forgot. I recently brought up a gentleman named, I believe his last name was Cadena. And he was one of the high-ranking members of the Mexican Mafia. And he was set up by the Nortenos. I said, I do not blame, I don't want people to blame gang members for that occurrence, when it occurred. I said, the government set them up to die so they could cause that rift. I did not intend, and I don't think this is what happened, but I'm going to put this out there anyway. I did not intend for that to cause the governing class to say, hey, let's kill these two guys over there. That's fucking retarded. Killing somebody doesn't make you a man. Killing somebody using technology sure as hell doesn't make you a man. And I'm the top martial artist ever possible. Ver and virtue means man. Martial arts are about building character, building virtue. Martial and marital. I understand being a man more than anyone who's ever lived. And I urge you people to stop offending God and to stop doing that. Stop all wars, including gang wars. Let's come up with solid formulas for conflict resolution. I urge everyone to rally and obey God through me. Okay, so when we look at the names here, right? Jeremiah Aguilera and Giovanni Lopez. So Jeremiah ends in Maya. And Maya is a key person that seems to be conning my family right now. It also connects to Mayan, right? And that has a lot to do with Aztecs. A lot of times people confuse the two. Okay, it has to do with the association with the South Americans and the Mexicans. Okay. Millennia, for the word millennia Trump, you can get Maya scrambled in there. Kamala, if you look at the L's and I, you get Ka, meaning spirit or body double in the spirit realm, and Maya. And there's a lot of connections there. Some of you might think that's a stretch. Okay, I'm going to prove definitively to you that the wordplay is sound. Right? Watsonville, Watsonville. Bear with me. So 3 years ago, there was 2 homicides in Watsonville in the same time. Okay, at least the video was posted 3 years ago, so I'm assuming it's 3 years ago. One was on Front Street and Merchant Street. Remember, Baal is a deity of merchants, and Baal is Set's Middle Eastern counterpart. Okay, Set is a deity of rape and storms and chaos. Baal is a deity of merchants, sailors, rape, storms, chaos, what have you. Who was the main enemy of God in the Bible. And again, Watsonville, what's son vile? Cain. Cain is connected to Baal, and Abel is connected to Christ. The other homicide, if that doesn't do it for you, was Main Street and Pennsylvania Street. Now, my family has strong ties in Pennsylvania. Okay? William Penn was who Pennsylvania is named after. And my family owned a lot of land there, and they gave it away for free, as the story goes, a long time ago on my mom's side. But in a sense, that's neither here nor there. But when we go to about 2014, 10 years ago, December 16th, a video that was posted, you see that Ramon Renda and Jalen Zavela, it's hard to read my writing here, but Ramon, right, Ra, man, Ra moon, okay, and Renda is like the word render, okay, they were killed, and one of them's a little girl that looks a lot like me. You have Marcos Robles. So Mark of the beast, Mark so, and Robles, or be less, or be les, right, lesbian, or be less, okay? So Watsonville, right, they want people to look up to Set, Ball. And they're the son of the sun god, right, or God is symbolized by the sun, rather, Ra. And Ra in Hebrew means evil. So they're saying what's son vile, evil, right? The word vile is evil scrambled. It's also live, how they want people to live, vile and evil. So when you look at the wordplay, it's sound here. There's a pattern of killing that connects to this case and is consistent with the patterns that we see. It's just like how Spawn resembles the Black Panther. Okay, why is that? Why do they both do martial arts? Why do they have that evil way about them? Why are they associated with wearing black? And there's connections there to venom. And venom goes back to poison. And the word position is poison is scrambled. Poison IT, information technology. And with information technology, they assist in the mass drugging and poisoning of society and identifying people. Early identification, prevention, and intervention. Common law enforcement tactics, Masonic tactics, what have you. It's the common formula, military formula, that's used when they're trying to control things. Law enforcement, right? Enforcement, meaning mind is in mentality, government, mental. So I know I said in a way it's a bit confusing. I think you should watch it again, try to connect the dots, write it down for yourself, ask questions. Okay, what are the odds that one of these guys, his name is Jeremiah, who was killed in Watsonville, and it was an article that's available on YouTube that was easy for me to find. These are the ones that, I mean, not article, a video. These are the ones that popped up. And the other ones, one of the suspects, his name is Marcos Robles, or be less, okay? And think about this, right? Some of you say, well, I'm not quite convinced. That could be a coincidence, right? Mark of the beast, right? Robles, okay. Well, why is this guy named Jeremiah? I've never in my entire fucking life come across somebody whose name is Jeremiah and said that way. Say Jeremy Frank, or, Jeremy Thompson, or whatever. But fucking Jeremiah? Then the streets, right? Front Street and Merchant Street. Baal is a deity of merchants. What son? Vile. Vile, the evil son of the sun god who is Set. And Set's equivalent is Baal. And Baal and Set, therefore, are both deities of merchants. And it was on Front Street and Merchant Street. And I'm putting them on Front Street by telling the truth about what's going on. If you think it's a fucking coincidence, what about Thompson and Carlton Road? I just recently mentioned Carlton in my videos where I say he's whitewashed, like Carlton. And then you got Carl Tone. C-Ra-L Tone, Carlton. The Thompson, right? The Tommy gun. So now, if you were to look at this stuff just in this one video, you might think, hey, that doesn't mean shit. But if you look at the countless videos where I've wordplay that's like 10 times more compelling and obvious than this one, then you say, yes, it's connected to the general pattern that they're using with their supercomputers to fucking kill people. And I'm sorry that we live in a society where they mock everyone who tries to connect the dots and act like there's some crazy tinfoil hat wearing motherfucker. Okay? But I'm telling the truth about this and I'm right about this. Okay? I bet everything that I'm right about this. This is what happened. They killed those two people. They're killing people. They have technology and they're on some bitch ass fucking shit. Okay, let me end by saying this. Set is a deity of confusion. Confusion. The two become one flesh. They fuse together. Confusion. Confusion in general for all kinds of cons. Use, confuse, and abuse. That is their formula. And I was hassled like you wouldn't believe when I made this video. I get fumed in my car, I fumed in my house, fumed outside of my house, fumed at the park, you name it. And so it's hard to make a video anywhere. I drive around all over the place. I'm considering getting a new damn car because they sabotaged my car. They sabotaged my dad's car, my old car, and this car. And when I had a rental car, they sabotage that too. To make a long story short, Aries cult center is in Nigeria. Right? Haro Eri is the old name for Horus. Okay, and his cult center is in southeast Nigeria, and it's in a place that's named something that's very similar to the name of the person who is the victim in the first case I brought up, whose first name is Jeremiah Aguilera. It's very similar to Aguileri, which is the name of Horus's cult center. Aguileri. Okay, that's not a coincidence. And Aguileri is very similar to the phrase Angel Eri, but Eri is the king of kings. Okay, he's the son of God. He's more than just an angel. He's the king of the angel. He's me.